Hello, hello, hello! I'm Cheesy Overlord 27, and today is the first video of a Change channel! Woohoo! So, before I get into it, subscribe bell icon, you guys know what that means, and now I'll continue. So, yeah, this is the first official fan fiction thing on this channel. Well, and the subject today is Sandersides. If you don't know what Sandersides are, I'll back up a little bit. So, they were created by a guy named Thomas Sanders. He's a Viner, also a TikToker. But also, he made a series on his YouTube channel called Sandersides, where he has 6 different sides. Remus, Roman, Virgil, Patton, Logan, and Deceit. And throughout the series, they do moral conflicts in it, and it's quite an interesting series, but I honestly like comic dubs better, and that's also why I'm also discussing it, because I've been watching too many of them. So yeah. Sandersides are divided by light and dark. The light sides are Patton, Logan, and Roman. Also, there's a 4th one that's sort of in between, Virgil, and let me try to explain a little bit of the characters, because last time I did this I didn't. So, Roman is the creative side, Logan is the logical thinking side, Patton is his moralities, good and bad concepts, like I know this is good, I know this is bad. Virgil is in charge of his anxieties and fears, so, also nervousness as well. Like, for example, if you see a cute girl, he would be there, voila! And then you get all nervous and anxious and yada yada. And now, the dark sides are Deceit and Remus, also known as the Duke, but I prefer Remus, so we'll just call him that. So yeah, Deceit is in charge of, well, lying, basically, and Remus is the dark side of creativity. And technically, Virgil's a dark side, but he also switched over to the light side at one point. So he's sort of a little bit of both. And now, here's where I come in. So, I read a lot of the comic dubs because I prefer those over the original. Well, and I noticed there's a lot of contrast, like I've said, light and dark. And I got to thinking, what if there was a gray, one in the middle? Well, and I came up with this character, in the sorts. He goes by 2 names. He goes by Insandy and Sandy. So, let me explain what my idea is first before I get into more of the story I have for them. So, Insandy is this crazy whack job. Sort of similar to Remus, but, what's the word? He makes a lot more nonsense than Remus would. He has a little bit of logical thinking, but not that much. With Insandy, there is no logical reasoning. So yeah, he's basically insane, dark, twisted. Every weird possible scenario you can think of, he's probably there. So yeah. And then his brother is Sandy. He is similar to Logan, where he's very calm, decisive, and like he sees the better in people, sort of like Patton. And he's very clean, white, and so just basically the black and the white combined together. So yeah. One other thing, they're both the same person, Insandy and Sandy. They constantly switch roles when someone's wanting to cross. Now, I'll try to explain a little bit of how their job in my head goes. Technically, Insandy and Sandy aren't sides. They're more of gateway keepers. They have 2 doors. One on the light side and one on the dark side. Insandy's job is to take the light sides, if any come through this dark, warped, twisted door. And so, let me try to explain a little bit better than that. So, Insandy is sort of like, you know how a good person goes crazy and then turns into a bad guy. That's basically how good sides turn into dark ones. He guides them to the door or on the other side. And then there are also some times where bad guys get clarity or sanity and turn good. And that's and that's Sandy's job. He takes the dark sides over to the light sides. He did this with an anxiety in my world. So yeah, they're basically gateway keepers. They constantly do this. And so yeah, now I'll try to explain more of the story I constructed for them. So Insandy and Sandy live in the gray space. No one knows where this place is because every time someone enters, they get to talk with them for a while, but then they ultimately forget them entirely as soon as they leave. Because it's very like in real life, like Sandy and Sandy are very unpredictable. You can't ever tell when that switch happens. So that's why they forget. So one day they're just in the gray space and they have nothing but each other's company. So pretty much they eventually got to like each other even though they're complete opposites. So Sandy finally remembers something that he blocked out years and years ago. Years ago, he made a book, Sandy made a book. His book described everything he could do and possibly what his jobs were. Sandy did the same thing. However, when Thomas was constructed, the books were lost. But now he finally knows where they are. And this is where he gets this clarity from. So he tells Sandy about this problem they have. One book is on one side, one book's on the other. There is one flaw with these books, however. Dark sides can read the dark book, and light sides can read the light book. However, thankfully for their situation, they landed on opposite sides. The dark twisted book landed over in the light sides, while the white book landed in the dark sides. So now they have to figure out how to get these books back because they had no idea what possible dangers could be if both of them read the books and understand them, and then for all they know, Thomas could die if anyone understood it more than they did. So they realize they have to get their books back. Heck, so Sandy takes his door and Sandy takes his door. Sandy, he goes through his door to the light side. He introduces himself as Inzin. And then he just says, like, I'm in charge of bland emotions or something, to pass by that he's a side. And he lays low because he can't just, of course, rush in and try to find this book because he has no idea where it is. So he stays there for a few days, and the only place he hasn't looked yet is Logan's room. This is bad because Logan is one of the most smartest sides in Thomas's head. And if he's reading it, there is a very small probability you could somehow decipher the book. So he assumes that it's in his room because it's nowhere else. So he gets in the room and he finds his book because he made it so he would know what it looks like. And he gets it. However, because of drama, Logan comes in as he gets the book. And of course, Sandy can come up with lies very quickly. Same thing with Remus and Deceit. So he says he was just looking for a book, and he seemed to have the best book selection in the house. And Logan is more of he's like more logical thinking, and like his name suggests. Yes, but like so he's like okay, but he wants like some information in advance. So like he's okay with this, but a little slightly suspicious. So he gets the book and leaves through his door. And he thinks he got unseen, but of course Patton notices him leaving through this strange, twisted, warped door. Now, he gets back and tells Sandy he got his book. So it's Sandy's turn now. He goes through his door to the dark side. He introduces himself as Sand and goes with the same story that Sandy gave, that he's just a bland emotion and he wasn't quite sure. So he stays there for a few days, searching through the house, being not as trying his best not to be too suspicious, just so he can like smell it like miles away. So he searches everywhere and finds out there's the only place he hasn't checked is Deceit's room, and that has to be where it is because he knows it's in here. And this is also bad because Deceit is the second smartest side in Sanders' head. Like, true, he doesn't have the book knowledge like Logan does. However, he is very determined. And he also gets very easily angered. So he gets into his room during night so no one would really find him, or at least be easy to spot him. He finds his book because, of course, it's his book as well. He gets it, and of course, for drama reasons, his Deceit comes in, and of course, being himself, it's very angry about him being in his room, and he has one of his books. He also has been trying to decipher the book, but he has no luck, and he's just mad that he's just stealing one of his books. And out of panic, Sandy books it to his door and quickly closes it. And of course, he led Remus and Deceit right to the door, which is not a very good thing. And at this time, the good sides also realize that Inzin is up to something, and they are trying to go through the door that Patton pointed out that he went through. So, Sandy and Sandy are in the rooms, and they have their books. And they think, okay, we're in the clear. No one saw us. They'll probably forget us after a week. However, they didn't account for the fact that they might follow them to their doors. So, of course, they're trying to burst down the doors. And Sandy is trying to block off his door the best he can. And Sandy's trying to block off the door the best he can. So, they're pretty much in big trouble because they never had this problem before, having two sides at the same time going in through. And they still don't know that they're the same person. And so they burst in after a long time, and they see this one person just constantly switching. And they try, Deceit tries to grab his book. However, something goes wrong. Both of them slowly, Insanity/Sandy, rise up and starts tearing apart into two separate beings to account for the fact there's so many sides in here and they can't do it by one body anymore. But there is a bad thing about this, of course, is once they separated, all of the sides are gone. All is left is this gray space they live in. It destroys all of the light side's possessions, anything that was there, and same thing with the dark side. And that's about as far as I got for their story. So before I wrap this video up, there's a few things I wanted to talk about. One, if you guys enjoy this, please, if you have any suggestions for movies, TV shows, even YouTube channels, put them in the comments section. I will read them and do a little research, and then I can be able to make a video and mention you in it. And then, second, and feel free to do anything you want with my stories. I would love to see you guys do adaptations of them, draw them or anything. I would love to see that. And also, I am doing a big project that I've been doing for about the past year now, and I'm still in the rougher stages of it. But I thought I might give you guys a little bit of a teaser. It's not that much, but I try to wet the palate at least. So, this is all you're going to get. The theme involves dogs. And you guys can use your imagination. I would love to hear your ideas in the comments. Of course, I won't tell you if you're right or not, but I would love to see it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. And I will hopefully see you guys in the next video. Bye.